Well, it seems that Star Wars has gone woke again. For approximately the 10,000th time, Star Wars has been used as a vehicle to push a radical left-wing agenda. The Washington Examiner reports, a new animated Star Wars television series features a Jedi who is non-binary, with other characters referring to this Jedi as them. The new Disney Plus series, Tales of the Empire, consists of 6 shorts, with one of the episodes featuring the non-binary Jedi. It's not the first time the Star Wars franchise has incorporated LGBT characters, as 2 female characters were shown kissing at the end of the 9th film in the franchise. The scene was cut when the film was released in Singapore and Dubai. In 2021, Lucasfilm unveiled 2 transgender non-binary characters in its comic book series titled Star Wars: The High Republic. Now, that is, of course, a very abbreviated roundup of the wokeness in the Star Wars universe, and we'll get back to that point in a moment. But first, let's watch this scene featuring the non-binary they-them Jedi. Watch.
Then come with me. We need to get them to the ship. We can save them.
Forget it. Let them die. It's not worth the trouble.
They were about to surrender.
Irrelevant. The Jedi are a threat to be eradicated wherever they are found.
Okay, so apparently the non-binary Jedi is about to die, and I don't know if there's a miraculous recovery after this. I'm not sure what happens. We're left in suspense about the fate of the non-binary Jedi. And, I have to keep referring to this character as the non-binary Jedi because I'm not sure if it's actually male or female. I guess it's neither of those, biologically speaking, because it's a cartoon. But in any event, I find this line to be pretty funny. She says, let them die. She doesn't care if the non-binary Jedi dies, and yet even as she expresses that level of disdain, she still makes sure to respect the pronouns. So she'll leave you to wither and die, cold and alone and forgotten in the dirt, but she would never dream of using a pronoun you don't like, which is actually a perfect summation of woke ideology and pretty funny in this context, although it becomes a lot less funny when you consider the fact that this propaganda is in a children's show. And as for that propaganda, the good news is that people are officially sick of it. The Daily Wire reports this morning, quote, a new poll shows Americans overwhelmingly want Disney to return to family-friendly, wholesome entertainment and stop making programming about sexuality and pushing its LGBTQ agenda. In a national survey by Rasmussen reports, 1,255 American adults were polled by telephone and online whether they agreed or disagreed with the following statement. Disney should return to wholesome programming and allow parents to decide when their children are taught about sexuality. The result found that 71% of American adults agreed that Disney should return to wholesome programming and give the power back to parents to decide when their children are taught about sexuality. That number included 53% who strongly agreed with that statement, 22% disagreed with the sentiment, and that also included 10% who strongly disagreed. Now, if you prefer to focus on the dark cloud inside the silver lining, you might point out that the 22% figure is extremely concerning. Sure, 71% of American adults got the answer right, but 22% don't want Disney to put out wholesome content? 22% of adults are actively opposed to wholesome content for children? Now, you might say that that's the real headline here, but the good news is that that trend seems to be heading in the right direction. Quote, the result of the poll appears to be a shift of 20% in the culture in 2 years over the entertainment giant's agenda to include gay and transgender characters in children's programming. In 2022, Rasmussen reports asked 1,000 American adults via telephone and online if the emphasis on inclusion and diversity by companies like Disney was making children's entertainment better or worse. 45% said that the push for inclusion is making kids' entertainment worse, while 28% of American adults believe the emphasis on DEI issues by Disney is making children's entertainment better. So the interesting thing here is that the number of adults who actively want this kind of woke brainwashing in their children's show has stayed almost the same, dropping slightly from 28% to 22%. Yet you have this massive shift on the other end, and that shift happened because of the middle. In that poll in 2022, 18% said that the propaganda isn't affecting the quality of the product at all, and another 10% weren't sure. So it seems that this chunk, the nearly 30% who couldn't make up their mind or refused to admit that any of this matters, they've been convinced otherwise after seeing how far the wokeness has gone. Can your savings weather another economic storm? Think about what you've put away for the future. Inflation can render cash worthless, and real estate can crash as it did in 2008 during times of economic uncertainty or market volatility, investors tend to flock to gold as a safe haven asset. Its value tends to increase during turbulent times, providing a buffer against market downturns. That's why people are flocking to gold now and why Birch Gold is busier than ever. Birch Gold understands that navigating financial decisions can be daunting. That's why their dedicated in-house IRA department is there to guide you every step of the way. Birch Gold is committed to addressing your questions and concerns promptly. Their team is always ready to provide answers and clarity, whether it's about fees, taxes, and rollovers, or the timing of the process. They're here to ensure that you feel valued and well-informed. Text Walsh to 989898 to talk to one of Birch Gold's experts and claim your free info kit on gold. You'll learn how to convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold. The best part is, it doesn't cost you a penny out of pocket. Just text Walsh to 989898. That's Walsh to 989898. Now, it's unfortunate that they had to learn this lesson the hard way, but at least people are finally sick of the propaganda, and especially sick of their children being subjected to it. You shouldn't have to get sick of it. You shouldn't have any tolerance for it to begin with, but the trends are moving in the right direction, and so we can at least be happy about that. Now, with that said, let's focus on Star Wars specifically for a moment. And really this question that I've posed before, and I will again, and it's not rhetorical, I really want an answer for this. Why is anyone still watching any Star Wars related product? Why are you putting it on for your kids to watch? Okay, Star Wars doesn't just have woke elements in it. The franchise has been at the forefront of injecting left-wing agitprop into entertainment. Out of all the popular entertainment franchises, it is the main culprit. And on top of all of that, it sucks. It's bad. Now, look, even if I were to agree with the rather dubious claim that the original Star Wars trilogy was a cinematic masterpiece, okay, simply for the sake of argument, let's just agree with that. There's no denying that all Star Wars content since the original trilogy has been mediocre at best and often quite a bit worse than mediocre. So if you're keeping track at home, okay, that means that Star Wars was good, arguably, for about 6 years. And it's been bad for 40 years. 40 years of badness. How many years of badness do you need? Do you need 100 years? Can we check back 60 years from now after 100 years of it sucking? And can you then finally admit that maybe we can move on from Star Wars? Let me ask you this. If you went to a restaurant in 1983 and you had a delicious meal, but every meal you've had at that restaurant since then has tasted like reheated dog vomit, would you still be going to that restaurant? How much garbage would you let that place shovel into your mouth before you got the message? At what point does everyone stop eating at that restaurant that has served nothing but bad food for 40 years straight? Why is a restaurant even still in business with that kind of track record? The original chef who made the good meal 40 years ago doesn't even work there anymore. He's gone, and even he forgot how to cook before he left. And now there's nobody in the kitchen who knows how to cook. They can't even work the stove. I mean, they're serving your food out of cans, heating it up in the microwave. Why are you still going there? And even worse, as they serve the bad food that they heated up in the microwave, they lecture you. Okay, it's all a bunch of feminists and LGBT activists that are working at this place now. It's been that way for 20 years at least, and they hate you. All of the employees openly despise you. Yet they will happily take your money and wag their fingers in your face and scold you, and then serve you a bowl of microwaved canned corn and charge you exorbitant amounts of money for it. The food isn't even bad in a creative or imaginative way. It's not even like they're trying to cook up new, interesting culinary creations and failing. They're not even trying to be creative. They're not trying at all. They're just serving up the same slop over and over and over again. And they're doing it with a scowl. They are coming over and just ladling out the microwaved corn and cussing in your face It's like, I hate you. I despise you. You piece of garbage. Here's your corn. And you're sitting there like, thank you. How much will that be? Oh, $67? Well, sure. And here's a 40% tip as well. Keep coming back and giving them your money. Why? Why? Now, I've probably ridden this restaurant analogy as far as I can take it. I think the point has been made. Star Wars is bad. The quality is bad. The writing is bad. The acting is bad. Even the special effects have gotten worse over time somehow. Star Wars has been bad for longer than I've been alive. And now it's hopelessly woke on top of it. The whole franchise is owned by feminists and left-wing activists, people who hate the audience and hate the material that they've been entrusted with. There is no conceivable incentive for anyone to watch any Star Wars content again. Like, I'm not even asking you to boycott Star. I'm not saying boycott. I'm just saying, why? Just don't. There's nothing enjoyable about this. Stop doing it. Every new Star Wars show should have an audience of 0. Every new Star Wars film should make $0 at the box office. Have some self-respect. Say no to Star Wars. In the words of the Star Wars character in that clip, let them die. It's time. It's well past time. And that is why anyone who still watches anything related to Star Wars is today canceled. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.